that are celebrating this executive order that says there are only two genders and that it's based on what parts you have at conception, I had no clue you guys were so chill with non-binary folks, because you guys been playing that awful close to the chest. Because those of us with higher order functioning brains and who passed 8th grade biology, we understand that up until 7 weeks of gestation, all fetuses have the same parts. So what this order actually says is that we are all non-binary. Now, I know you are down in the comment sections trying to rub those two brain cells together to comment something about chromosomes. So let me teach you something real quick. There are folks who have female body parts with XY chromosomes, and there are folks who have XX chromosomes with male body parts. And that says nothing about people with XXX or XXY chromosomes. This type of is what happens when you have a septuagenarian with the brain of a 5-year-old that tries to categorize that scientists don't agree about. So from now on, I will be calling every single one of you ignorant, hateful non-binary. Not because I think it's an insult, but because you do. I have listened to you ignorant spout some of the most hateful for the last 10 years, and now it's my turn. So to put this simply, I'm going to be the equivalent of a proctologist with baseball mitts for hands. And since I know that went right over your head, allow me to make this painfully simple. I'm going to be a pain in the ass.
Basically, this straight white male who is very privileged, and not because he's a white male, but because he's an American citizen. And that's something that y'all need to understand. American citizens are far more privileged than other nations because we actually have different classes. In other nations, you have the super wealthy, you have the poor. We have a middle class, we have the poor, we have upper middle class, we got lower middle class, we got super wealthy, we got just regular rich right on the basement floor. And this young man is telling you all, because he's, a liberal. When liberals feel like they have to take up for the people that's disenfranchised, we got to take up for them. They can't take up for themselves. Here's the thing, young man. This country was founded on principles by God, all right? Indivisible under God. This is a Christian country. And a lot of times we like to uphold God's word. I do realize that a lot of you may not be Christian, but nobody's banging down your door trying to get you to go to your priest and give them all your sins and say, please forgive me. Nobody's trying to get you to do that. But what we're not trying to do, young man, what we don't want is to have our children have this stuff forced on our children, because you don't have children yet. You don't have a family yet. But as soon as you get a wife and you get children, you're not going to want the school system to force anything on your children either. All right? That's something that these young guys need to realize, these young people need to realize. But as soon as they start to tell your child that they can be whatever sex they want to be, and they don't have to tell you about it as the husband of the household, if you don't have an issue with that, sir, you are not a man. You're not even a woman. I don't know what the hell you are. You're non-binary or whatever you want to be. You're make-believe, you're a cuckold, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, if you don't take up for your children and your wife, then you are not a man. So a lot of us are simply saying there are men and there are women. And women have a certain amount of rights for them, because back in the day, they was disenfranchised too. Back in the day, it was only men that was allowed to work. And certain things had to move forward so that women were allowed to work. All right? Some in the model, the whole biblical model of having a man go out there and work while a woman stay home and take care of the children, that didn't really work out because some men didn't want to give into that. Some men weren't men enough to go out there and make a life for their families. And everybody, for some strange reason, like to live above their means. So now a woman want to go out there, make her money too, stack up, do what they got to do, leave the kids to, they raise the kids for a couple of years, in the home, and then they start sending them out to babysitters and all this other stuff. But now when we send our kids to babysitters and childcare providers, our children are being abused, both physically, mentally. They are being taught things that we don't teach them in our homes. They are being taught that it's cool to be trans and all this other stuff. In elementary schools, they're having trans reading hours where you have a trans person come there and dressed up in the opposite sex, and they're reading books and they're dancing for the kids. They have bars and stuff where children are invited to go put dollars into men's skirts while they're dressed up as women and gyrating to grown adult music. There's a whole pedophilia culture that's targeting our children. And people who are serious about preventing that and stopping that, we are very vocal. So, young man, you sound very intelligent, sound like you go to school a lot, sound like sound like your parents actually did a damn good job raising you and making sure you took education seriously. But what they didn't do is teach you enough about this world. And you're going to have to learn on your own. If people don't teach you, life will. That's just how that works. So you have conservatives who want things to work the way that they're supposed to work. And you have liberals who are like, let's just be free. We'll figure it out later. Let them be them. Let them be them. What happens is chaos comes from that. We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach. We just now saw that with the Biden administration. Chaos came from them wanting to just open up the borders and just let everybody come in because they figured, hey, we got enough to give to everyone. We got enough food. But what if in your household and your parents fix dinner and they just open up the doors and announce to the whole neighborhood, hey, we got enough food. Feel free to come over whenever you want. As a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and bust out some people who don't speak our language, who don't have our same culture, who don't have the same values that we have. And we're going to bring them into the house and let them just destroy your home, eat whatever they want to eat, take whatever they want to take. So do that make sense to you? The older you get, the more serious you get about your family, about protecting your family, about what you value, and all those things, man. So one day you'll grow the hell up and some of that bass will leave from your daggone chest a little bit, your voice a little bit. When you're speaking about the real things, you can speak silently and you don't have to be so emotional. This dude spoke for like 1.5 minutes and he cursed like 28 times. Very emotional young man. No more hugs for him. He needs to do what Mark Zuckerberg did and join the MMA and start fighting some UFC fighters, grow some balls, build your testosterone back up, and stop being such a cat. Another word for cat. 5 letters. Begins with a P. Last letter is a Y. All right. So that's all I wanted to say to that young man. See, these youngers, man, they really don't know until they actually learn for themselves. They just thinking that we're attacking gay people. Ain't nobody attacking gay people. Do you know how many gay people I know that I love? Like, come on, I'm an ally too. I want everybody to be treated the same way. But what I don't want is for people to act as if they want to build up an organization to help out disenfranchised groups like Black Lives Matter. Like Black people aren't getting the same attention that they're supposed to get. They're not getting the funding they're supposed to get. Call in Black Lives Matter or go to blacklivesmatter.com and donate money so we can help out these blue cities to get everything that they need. And then when we do that, we realize that it's LGBTQAI plus in disguise, and they aren't helping these people that everybody was sending all this money to, the same way Kamala did when all these people was donating blue so that Kamala could win. They didn't know that she was going to take all that money and give it to Beyonce, give it to Oprah, and give it to all of her rich celebrity friends to try to push her across the finish line. So Black Lives Matter did the exact same thing. Everything was about the interests of the LGBTQAI plus. They had offices that was run by people that was in that community, and they was funding only them. They was padding their pockets. And then they were hiring their brothers and sisters to work for them. And they were giving them upwards of $800,000 a year to work with them. And they were using Americans' money. They was using your dumbass money. They was probably using your parents' money if they were also giving money to Black Lives Matter. But you don't care about that. You have a phone, you jump on your soapbox, TikTok say everybody's welcome to just turn on the camera and just start talking BS. And that's exactly what you did. So hopefully one day you grow up before it's too late, because we've been taken advantage of by so many different people. And again, we finally have an adult back in the office, back in the Oval Office, making sure that this doesn't happen. You should be happy, bro. But unfortunately, your mind has been taken over by the people that target and manipulate the emotional people out there, which you are. Maybe someday you'll start thinking with some logical common sense. You do not right now. So feel free to be as smart and condescending as you want to be, but unfortunately, it's not a good look on you, bruh. You look like a woman and you sound like a woman. That's just my 2 pennies.